Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Jemshi.
And I'm Pescador. And in this episode of the podcast, we talk about what other movie has surpassed the domestic debut sales of the Avengers End Game, what games Tesla plans to implement in their new vehicles, and the Epic Game Mega Sale and what it could mean for game developers.
This episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast is sponsored by Cento Fiore. Cento Fiore is a lifestyle fashion brand that sees beauty and cultural heritage and always strives to offer timeless and elegant style. Visit cento-fiore.com to join the family. That's CENTO-FIORI.com. All right, now on to the podcast.
So, Jemshi, not spoiling anything whatsoever, but did you see John Wick, the new one, 3? It's like a Parabellum.
No, I have not.
Did you even know it was coming out?
No,
You know, it's really weird.
How long has it been out?
It just came out this week. I think it's the 17th it came out.
Huh.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, to be honest. And what's sad is domestically, it destroyed Avengers End Game, which doesn't make sense to me. Because,
wait, what?
It did better domestically. It doesn't make any sense. So the record was set by Endgame, and it made like 29 million, and it's on its debut and domestically, but it just destroyed it. Like, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. I heard so much hype from Endgame. Everyone was going to see that. I even have pictures of me going to the movie, and there was like no popcorn, there's no candy for Endgame. I didn't hear anything about John Wick, the new movie, and it did so much better. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's weird to me. Like, I know that I don't usually see trailers, but I usually get like an understanding that the movies are out and around. Like, usually, like, I'll be at the store or something, and then there's like, Endgame or something. You know what I mean? Like, you'll see some kind of like poster for like movies or something if you like happen to drive by or walk by or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I feel like I would have seen this, like, a meme online about the movie.
Yeah, it snuck up, and I had no idea until I was just minding my own business, and I saw an IGN post that's saying that it just beat it with a 57 million domestically for John Wick 3. Like, I don't know. I didn't even know. That's so sad. Like, I didn't see any of the other John Wicks. I'll be completely honest. And I enjoy those types of movies. Just haven't invested my time in John Wick. But for it to sneak up on me like that and completely destroy Endgame, which I saw the like horrible aftermath of all those crowds going there, and just it looked like when those like insects invade an area and just destroy all the resources and then leave. Like, that's what it looked like in the movie theaters. And John Wick destroyed that. I can only imagine. It blows my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the fan base is a lot more loyal with that franchise, like the John Wick franchise.
Which is strange, because from what I understand, John Wick is like extremely graphic. And at least Endgame, in a sense, is you can take your kids to see it, from what I understand. I mean, I guess you could take your kids to see John Wick, but I don't know if that's like the movie they should see. But
yeah, like, when you have the option between the two, which one would you take your kid to?
So having that aspect in there, that's why I'm really confused on how it did so much better, because, you know, a kid wants to see Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, Spider-Man, because they love that, but like John Wick's just an individual, and from what I understand, the movie's pretty graphic, so
yeah, it doesn't appeal to kids. And just even from like the whole, like, the market in general, most of the money is made from younger kids. Like, most of the audience on YouTube, Twitch, and everything are younger kids. Everything's marketed towards them for like toys and like all kinds of stuff. And it's just interesting that like something, I don't know, like, I guess I don't know if kids are into John Wick or not. Like, is it something that
maybe Fortnite put them into John Wick, you know, that John Wick skin, and they have that things going on in Fortnite, and I don't know.
I guess. Yeah, because I think like what you said with Avengers, because like if you go there, you bring your kids along with you, so that's already like a whole group thing, as opposed to just like the parent going to see John Wick. If they're like, oh, I don't feel like this is a movie I'm bringing my kid to. I don't know. I guess it's like, I guess everyone's the superhero market in the movie industry is just so saturated that no one really feels like that. Oh, I have to go see these movies. You know, like everyone's just kind of like, oh, it's another superhero movie.
That's true. I know, like, if you think about, what was it? Avatar. I mean, Avatar was the first of its kind, and it's still, like, put up a good fight. You know what I'm saying? But the John Wick just blew back past everything. Just unreal. I don't understand. I don't know. Because you would think that since Avatar's the first of its kind, and it's just like a... And then John Wick's the third installment. And usually as the series go, they're not very good. Usually. But...
Yeah, usually like they kind of dwindle because like everyone gets into the first one, and then the second one comes around, and then like, oh well.
Yeah, look at the Matrix.
You know, I guess
it's the Matrix. The first one was the best, and then it just started slowly but surely getting worse.
Yeah, like that happens with almost every because like I think because like, always like the movie like producers and like whatever funding they get, like everyone's like it has to be good and they have to make the movie like this and that, and the writers of the movie are kind of like, well, this is not the way I expected the story to go, like because like. Usually it would have been good if it wasn't as big because then like more people wouldn't be trying to get their hands in there to like, you know, make the story make sense. And I don't know. There's like the whole movie politics and drama where, you know, even with the Oscars where it's like, does it really, you know, matter how good the movie is? Because it seems like it's just kind of whoever paid the most money to these people who like vote on the Oscars, you know.
Is this a conspiracy theory?
No, have you seen it? Like, there's even like, pretty much like it's like a known fact that like people don't even watch the Oscars anymore. Or like,
I got no idea.
Yeah, because like a lot of the times it's like they just kind of vote for movies that like no one's watched. You know, like there's like all the superhero movies are just like always like they make like break records and then like not a single award is given to those movies. Like it's just kind of like what you know what happened there. Like, you know, it seems like all these other people are like trying to. Because what happens is like the movies that don't do as well are trying to be like, oh, we need to get recognition so that we can use that as like a stepping stone into next and more projects and stuff, which I understand. Like, I get that. Like, if you're trying to do anything you can to like build yourself up in the movie industry, like go all for it. But if it's like, I don't know, you kind of think that it'd be a more honest award ceremony as opposed to just kind of, falsifying I don't know.
You know that scandal that was going on with all the rich people and buying, like putting their kids through college, right?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, it's just, like that. Where
that's
like,
why I'm not shocked.
It's like the notoriety of just like what can money do? Almost
anything. Money can do anything. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's Animal Farm at its best. There you go. That's my high school education right there. But I'm going to talking about rich people. How about Elon Musk and Tesla? He was actually talking about putting Unreal and Unity engines in for games in his vehicles now. So we're talking about possibly Fortnite coming to his cars, and I mean Unity has Rocket League, so possibly Rocket League. What do you think about that?
Like that. I like the idea, but like I kind of wonder what the use of it could be. Like I can think of. In the future, because like I know right now you can really only play games that they have currently, which are like retro, you know, like the 8-bit looking games.
Yeah.
You can play those, but you can only play them while the car's like parked. Yeah, you can only play it when it's parked. But I assume that maybe he's trying to like okay, whenever the car is driving itself, what are you gonna do? Like, oh, here's a video game console that you can play while your, you know, car's driving you somewhere.
Which I get car sick, so I don't know how that would even be like applicable for me because I could not play video games while driving. Like if it was self-driving and you know I was just sitting, I'd get sick. Car sick is very easy for me.
Well, did you know that the reason with car sick is that if you're focusing on anything like that's inside the car, like if your eyes are focused on it, because like there's a lot of movement. But if you were to like, I guess like the kind of the cure or just like the cope with it is to focus on something that's outside the car.
Dude, we learn something new every day, don't we?
That's why I was saying, like, that's totally true, that people would get car sick probably more often playing video games in the car because, like, I don't know, like they're focusing something on like that's like on inside of a moving vehicle and it's bumping around on, you know, uneven. Like the roads aren't that even, let's be honest. So there's got to be bumps,
of course.
So I could see that being, you know, some kind of an issue. But for those that wouldn't have motion, sickness, like I almost think that it would be interesting. Like then you'd be like, okay, cool. Like I can play Fortnite while I'm on a drive to where I want to go. But then I almost wonder if there's going to be like the issue of like you drive. Let's say you're going to school or something. You're dropping your kids off, and your kids are like, "No, let me finish this game of Fortnite before I go to school." And you're like,
wow,
"School starts in like 10 minutes. You got to get going."
I know he didn't say Fortnite specifically or Rocket League. That's just speculation. But he did kind of call out two games, and he made reference to Minecraft and Quake. So it'd be kind of cool to unwind with Quake. I'm not so much in the Minecrafting mood, but I mean, it's nice for kids. Kids love Minecraft.
Yeah, I think that's like it seems like those are like if he's talking about the like original Quake, I'm gonna guess he's probably still going for like a low graphic quality like tier because I don't think I like imagine the amount of like processing power current PCs need to have just to even play a lot of those games, and like a gaming console needs to have.
Yeah,
I can't imagine that he'd be like, oh, let's start upping the graphics card on my Tesla, upping the cost. Like some people are gonna be like, why am I even bothering?
Dude, he has money to spend, man. He has money to spend. Why not update the anything in that car?
Yeah,
so
I guess like if I were to buy a car that could drive itself, that's already probably a lot. I'm like, why would I spend more money on a video game console?
Why not? If you have enough money to buy a Tesla, then you have enough money to spend the extra whatever it is to get the extra package.
I guess like a gaming PC is probably like a 1 or 2K. So that'd be like 1 or 2K more. Probably a little bit cheaper if you imagine it being like a PS4 or like an Xbox kind of. I guess so. I'm thinking like the percentage of like the cost increase is probably like only 1 or 2%. So it's not like that much more. But I don't know. I guess I would like to think that I'd be doing a lot more productive things with my time. But then I'm lying to myself. Like if I had a video game console in my car, I'd be like, all right, cool. Let me go drive somewhere because I need to play video games.
I'd be like, I'd get up out of, I'd just be somewhere with my fiance, and then I'd walk out, and she'd be like, where you going? I'm like, I'm going to go to the store, get some toilet paper because I, threw away all the toilet paper. I'm like, I got to go to the store. And I'd be like, sit in the parking lot and Publix or, whatever grocery store you have, just playing Fortnite or something like that. That'd be fun.
Imagine you lose a game and you look over and like the person next to you is still playing like
Dude, if we had enough money to buy Teslas, we'd park it next to each other and just play each other. I would.
I bet you that there's going to be some kind of thing where like you can attach them in like a fleet where you can like get your squad.
You're talking about LAN parties with Teslas?
Yeah, pretty much. And then like once somebody's like, all right, I got to get off on this exit, they're like, all right, later, man. And then I drop off I don't know. I think that'd be interesting to see.
That's
I just
funny.
feel like there's going to be a lot of people that like are chilling in parking lots. Not like, you know what I mean? Like okay, I'm going to go run in. Kids, here you go. Play Fortnite or whatever, or play Minecraft.
I guess. Because right now they have DVD players in vans and stuff, so...
Yeah, I guess it's no different, but I think the one thing that I kind of wonder is that the screen is right there on the front console, and that's where like the speedometer and everything is for like a Model 3. And if there's a video game playing, like where like are they gonna like minimize? Because like if they make the screen any smaller so that you can still see the speedometer while driving, then I don't know. I can only see it being like a parking feature right now.
I surely hope it is. I mean, or an auto
in the car,
or whatever.
If your kids are old enough, obviously. I think there's a certain age that you're allowed to.
So I had an epiphany while you were talking. I was just, for some reason, you know how they have like car shows? They just line up cars and stuff. They're going to have car shows, but for like game systems, like my car can run this game. You can play this game on mine. The sound system on mine's so sick. You know what I mean? That's the thing of the future. Right there.
Yeah, it's going to be such a thing where people get in their Tesla, stream on Twitch, and they just drive around. Like they're like, all right, yeah, let me get at the stop here, and they run in the gas station, bring everybody on Twitch with them, or whatever, and then come back out and they're like, all right, Twitch chat, we're getting right back into this other Minecraft game.
That's such a I
think you need like a dual gaming PC in that type of scenario if they want to have like the streaming PC and the gaming PC.
The world that we live in, man, I can't. What's next? Bringing game systems, like besides the little games you can play on, the the plane. I'm sure you're going to be able to play Fortnite on like flights internationally, like international flights that you can, play some Fortnite or something like that.
You can play it on the Switch, so if you can like bring that on the flight with you,
well,
it's just a matter of getting the internet. And I don't know how good airplane Wi-Fi is.
I don't know. I'm saying like local like games of Fortnite, playing against like seat A like 5, and you're just like destroying them, and they're screaming in the front, But I mean,
that would be fun.
It would probably cause a riot, and someone would probably fight somebody.
It'd be like the one time on the airplane, whenever the airplane lands, that everyone doesn't get up. They're like, "Oh, the game's still going." Like everyone who's like not playing is like, I can just leave now." Like, you guys sure? And they're like, "Yeah, the pilot's, he's finishing up his game too."
Yeah, I know you saw that meme of that pilot playing Fortnite on his phone, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty funny. So that's the pilot. As soon as the pilot lands, like, dude, I'm gonna get in this game of Fortnite. Hold on. Like, it's gonna be ridiculous. One day the video games are gonna be like the biggest thing ever. It's gonna be ubiquitous. It's gonna be everywhere. And every whatever, like, rest stop, airport is gonna have game systems.
They already have those
everywhere.
in restaurants where they have those little like tablet things on the tables that you can kind of like
just
pay your bill and stuff. You can play games on those. Like there's already just like anytime there's idle time, it seems like they're starting to work in games.
Because our attention span is so poor anymore, just because we're so used to having everything at our fingertips. Like right now, it's like, all right, we're sitting in silence instead of talking. Let's do something else. Let's play a game. Let's look at Facebook. Let's look at Twitter. Let's see what's going on with the weather. That kind of stuff.
I've even seen like articles and like stuff like talking about how creativity comes from boredom, and a lot of people nowadays really aren't truly bored anymore because like they're always just kind of like passing time with the things on their games on their phone or something like that. So I always wonder like if games are just always available, are people going to be truly bored anymore? And that like where does creativity come from then?
The day that virtual reality becomes a thing, man, there's no more boredom whatsoever.
I guess it would be like if the games became so immersive that you could become creative in the game, then maybe that would work. Like you're so bored, you're like, I'm playing this game, but I'm bored. Then maybe that would work. I mean,
yeah, if you make the game super realistic, like you're living, like you're just sitting in your house, but you're out and about doing your job. Yeah, maybe that would be the day, but we'll have to see. I'm actually kind of excited to see what the future holds, but kind of still horrified.
Well, another thing that's coming up in the future is the Epic Game Store that we've been mentioning many times over on this podcast. Just because I feel like the amount of like strategies and tactics that they've been using to gather the audience and really take a hold of the gaming market it's really interesting to kind of watch this unfold. So they just had started, I guess, their Epic Mega Sale on their Epic Game Store. I don't know why they don't just call it the Epic Sale. But what is interesting about this is that every game that is $15 or more, they give you $10 off. And that's per game. It's not that if your total is over $15, it's per game.
So every game over $15 is $10 off. So if I wanted to buy a brand new game, $60 right off the gate, that's $50.
Yeah.
Even if you pre-order?
Even like pre-order games are getting like anything. Like that's what's insane. I think that's and then they also have like other like just this game's 10% off, this game's 20% off. So even if that it's like the game is like, let's say it's $20, 25% off, okay, well now it's $15, you still get $10 off of that also,
as long as it's over $15. Doesn't matter.
As long as that's priced after that percentage discount.
So so Total War usually is around about $40. It usually goes half off sometimes, like the new Total War Warhammer game, like 2 usually finds its way around like $20, $30, and then you get like an extra 10%. Wow, dude, that's
another extra $10.
Unreal.
And then the thing is that they've had certain games have been like not participating, and these are like big games like Borderlands 3, Bloodline 2, and it's really interesting that like so Borderlands 3 is an Epic Games exclusive, and Bloodline was just like, it's like another like pre-release game.
Yeah.
So people are, you buy into it before the game's released, so that you get the game upon release. With that, they pulled their game, and I guess it's kind of like, people are kind of like talking that like they feel like this devalues their game. If your game is like $10 off, like, I don't know, like kind of makes it like, oh well, they like the fact that their game is kind of pricey because it makes their game feel more I don't know, like elite, something like that. Like you're really getting something like higher quality.
Well, I'd be mad if I was a game developer and I want to launch, a game that I know that people would buy it for $60 and the Epic Game Store is knocking it already off before it comes out to $50. I wouldn't be happy with that because, people are going to buy it. It's going to be $50. You're losing $10 there, and think about $10 times what? A couple thousand people are going to do it. So
I'm wondering if Epic Games like reimburses, like they pay that $10 discount out of their own pocket so that the developers lose nothing. But like, it just seems like if that's the case, like that's the only thing that I can think that would be good. Because like if I was like, oh, I have to put my game, like if I was an Epic Games Store exclusive game, and I had to put it on there, and then suddenly they just start putting these discounts without, because like they say you can opt out, the developers can opt out of it if they want. But I think that'd be like interesting if it was like those discounts were applied also on your sales. Like they're like, oh, we'll get you more sales, but you're going to make less money per game. I don't know. That would sit well with me. Just because you feel like you would like to be the one that was in control of that. And that's why I'm thinking that Epic Games, with the amount of money that they seem to have, because like we got to understand, like they developed Fortnite, but they've also developed like other games as well. And they also are the creators and developers of the Unreal Engine. Yep. So they've got so many different revenue streams because with Unreal Engine, for every game sale, so Unreal Engine is a game development engine. So like, let's say you want to make a video game and you want tools and a toolkit kind of to help you make this game. You can use Unreal Engine, which is free, and you can download it and just start developing your game. Use all the toolkit, basically speeds up the process, makes your game good and everything's reliable and stuff. And every game you sell, if you make over, I think, like 100K, like let's say you made like over 100K in sales, Unreal Engine would take 5% of that, like of your, income or whatever on that. So that's kind of like, okay, they're making money off of all the games that use Unreal Engine. And actually I found out just today, I was browsing a Wikipedia article on Unreal Engine just because I was just kind of curious because I was like, okay, there's got to be like a lot of things going on. I wanted to know more about Epic Games. So with that, I was rolling and I saw, like, it was at the very bottom of the article, so I could have just easily missed this if I didn't read it. But they said that if you use Unreal Engine and you release your game on the Epic Game Store, so think about that. You've got 5% already taken from every game sale from the Unreal Engine, and then Epic Game Store takes 12%. So that already kind of like doesn't sit well. But I actually found out that Epic Games, they actually encourage people to do that. They say, okay, well, if you have an Unreal Engine game and you release on the Epic Game Store, we'll waive that 5% fee so that you're still only just paying 12% per game sale, which I think is actually really cool.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you, if you're a big game developing company, I mean, why wouldn't you use, I mean, that's smart tactics. I mean, you're still using their product and then releasing it on their platform. I mean, touche. Like, they're making money one way or another is basically what it is. So
yeah, I think that's been really good because I think there's Unity, which I think you have to pay like per month. It's not like per game sales, which is like, I think a little discouraging because you're like, okay, well, I have to make sure that I like pay the bills on like all these monthly fees, and I think it's per. So if you have like a team of like 10 developers, you have to pay each person that's using Unity. You have to pay like that monthly fee 10 times, and then you could do like enterprise versions, which are like you get discounts if you've got like teams like hire 100 or more or something. Yeah, but that doesn't apply for most people. But well,
that's only Unity is only for depends on how much money they make as well. So if they make over X amount of money, I think it's like 100K.
100,000. Yeah, and then I think it's
and then it goes up from prices. Then
yeah, I can't remember the next tier. I think it's another like 100,000. I think it's either like 500,000. I think.
Oof, I don't remember, to be honest, but yeah, something like
you
that.
To make a lot more, or you have, because they have 3 different tiers. It's free, and then you have to use the I can't remember. It's like pro, and then there's like
Yeah, it just keeps on going up, but it starts at $100,000 in games sold for the year, and if you go over that, then you have to go up to the next class. So,
right. So I can see that with Unreal Engine, like they've got like this really big share in just like even the game development market. We're like, okay, release your games on the Epic Game Store. You get like such a lower cut compared to Steam, and if you're using Unreal Engine, we'll waive that 5% fee, which is like already amazing because like that doesn't happen if you do it on Steam. If you're taking 5% off your game and you sell it on Steam, they're taking 30%, and then Unreal Engine takes 5%. Yeah. So,
or if you even use a different development tool such as Unity, I mean, that's still
like it almost, as much as you like hate to see like, oh well, like I don't want to be so biased, but it sounds like Epic Games really has something
going
great for game developers. You know, like 12% overall. Like even after development, all your resources and everything, it's just boom.
They are really, really trying to take a huge chunk of the gaming industry. They really are. That's a fantastic marketing technique. It really is. I can't even be mad about it. That's a fantastic idea because either way, you're using their products. And they're making money regardless. So they don't care how or what way, shape, or form they're making the money. They just want to make money. So
yeah, and I for me, like that even like I think that would even encourage like indie game developers because like they would have to be like, okay, I have to make so many sales, and then because Steam was the only PC gaming market, they were like, oh well, I have to make enough money that even after that 30% cut, that I'm still making breaking even. And now when you're like, oh well, why don't I just go to Epic Game Store? Like Epic Game Store is already doing all the work to get everybody to get onto that platform to begin with. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, we'll let Epic Game Store figure that out. I'll just put my game on there. So whenever people come over, they can see that my game's there and they'll play it.
Yeah.
So I really like the idea that they're really making things cheaper for the game developers, which is like, honestly, really, like, it's kind of like you feel like they're doing a good thing. Like, like you can't even be mad at them for making such great deals. You know, like if you didn't like Unreal Engine compared to Unity, you're like, well, it almost makes sense to like, oh, well, if I can put my game on the Epic Game Store, why not just I'll get that 5% fee?
I guess the only like thing I can argue is the fact that Unity is a little bit more simplistic for design. Like it's a little easier to use Unity than it is to use Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine has a lot of I wouldn't say nuances, but there's a lot of things that are it makes it like more in depth than
it's not
Unity.
Beginner friendly is what you're kind of saying.
Yes, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
I agree with that. I think the other reason I think Unity is a lot more favored for game developers, in my opinion, is the user base is a lot more helpful. Because I think
the community is amazing.
Unreal Engine used to not be free, so when Unity was free before Unreal, like there was that community of people that wanted to develop games for free. So for a couple of years, they built up this community of like everyone helping each other out. This game engine's free. So there's a lot of resources out there compared to Unreal Engine to like learn it. That's why like Adobe Photoshop and Premiere and all that stuff is used a lot more because there's just a lot more people using it. So it's easier to like Google something and find out the answer. In Unreal Engine, that's like slowly getting better, because there's more and more people using it, running into the same issues that you are, that they put up, and they're like, you know what I mean? Like you could start Googling it and finding that stuff a lot easier. And with Unity, that's why it's so beginner friendly, is that all those issues have been kind of like figured out by a lot of people. And then there's a lot more tutorials out there. Like if you Google any game, say how to make Minecraft in Unity or something, there's probably like a billion jillion tutorials out there.
100%. And it's nice to know the fact that like it's so old that it has their loyal fans, like that people still use Unity all the time. And it's always changing in the sense that they're making it better, making it more simplistic for the users, more user friendly. I'm not saying that Unreal is not doing the same thing, but the amount of information you have to do in order to make your game look like good or as good as it can be on Unreal Engine, there's so much to dive through.
It's really not geared towards the.
It's overwhelming.
Either. Yeah, because like the amount, if you really, because it's like you almost have to like change your art style almost to like not, because like you can't really utilize the graphic engine to its fullest if with like a smaller team, you know, like you really need good artists.
People that, I'm not saying they know what they're doing, but people that know what they're doing. It's the lack of a better term.
It really is,
I mean, it's tough, but
well, it's that, and it's also the people that have the time. If you've got a smaller team, you can't compete with that. Your game would take you 2 or 3 years, as opposed to like some other thing where they can develop that same game 100 times better within that same amount of time. It's just harder to compete. So
I just think that Epic Games is really stepping it up. I mean, I think it's going to bring the gaming industry a new light with games. I feel like game development companies are going to be they're going to be taking more risks and say, why not open it up on the Epic Games Store? Why not? Since we're getting more money and we can we can use Unreal Engine. I feel like there's going to be more people that are going to use Unreal Engine. I feel like there's going to be more games that are going to be released on Epic Games Store. There's going to be Epic Game exclusive. I just feel like it's going to bring a whole new wave of video games to this platform in the gaming world, gaming industry. Like, it's going to be the wild, wild west, if you will, of, video games.
Yeah, it's almost starting over, I feel. Because it used to be like you would download your game from anywhere and the game just ran on its own, Mm-hmm. Now then there was Steam, and then it felt like, okay, everything on the internet for gaming is all centralized on Steam, And then now it feels like that's breaking up. And I find it a little interesting that it's Epic Games. Like, what other name could we have had? Like, imagine if there's some other game or company name that was just kind of like, I don't know.
I'm waiting for Discord to do something to the extent of this, and I know that they've been ramping up their game store and stuff, but they have not been making the push as much as Epic Games has.
I almost feel like that they're going to probably pull some kind of partnership with Epic Games. Like, that would be my guess. Well, yeah, Discord has, like we discussed in the last episode, that it had 250 million users.
Yep.
Or like, at least, and that is just already, because like people don't even use it just for games. Like, Discord is just like people chatting online, kind of like they almost use it like as if it's WhatsApp or Messenger.
Or for podcasts.
Like it's used so, like the uses are so versatile that like people like have been using this, and I just imagine that Epic Games probably sees that as something that they're going to either mimic, because like I feel like with them and their current trend of trying to like take every aspect of the gaming industry, like first they're getting the gaming platform, and then they've got the gaming engine, then they're gonna be, oh, how do people socialize when they game? Discord, let's make something like that. Like, I can see that being their next,
you're right,
move.
They do what other companies do, and that's they find something that works and make it their own and make it better. And that's what they're doing currently with every single thing that Epic Games has touched, like the Epic Games Store, Unreal, like just the whole process of this whole thing is fantastic. I mean, they have been doing a fantastic job of marketing. They've been doing a fantastic job of getting the right customers to come to that. It just fantastic. I mean, I'm really shocked that it happened so quickly, in my opinion. I honestly thought this would take a while to get traction, but they're making such a push so frequently, and they're taking big risks. Other things other companies are afraid to do because they just have the money. They're just like, why not take this risk and say, we'll give you a big cut if you come here and try this and trying new things, but it's really working out in their favor.
Yeah, and it was only December 2018 when the Epic Game Store really launched. Kind of really initially was starting out. So it hasn't even been a full year yet, and I feel like they're really breaking up the whole gaming industry and just starting a whole, almost a revolution a little bit.
Kind of like the PS4 versus Xbox kind of thing, eventually is like kids are going to be arguing instead of, PS4 versus Xbox, like which one are you kind of, they're going to be like Epic Game Store or Steam, what are you? So it's good for the gaming industry, in my opinion. Competition is always good. Brings out cheaper prices, better quality games, and more game exclusives. So
I agree, and I'm curious to see what Steam does, because I think they have kind of been really silent during this whole thing. So I almost wonder if they're going to be like, "Hey, we've been sitting on this project for a while," and they boom.
They said that they've been working on some projects. I honestly, off the top of my head, I cannot remember what they were. I think it was something with VR and some stuff like that, but I'm sure that they have something in the works.
Yeah, they have Steam VR, but
I think that Steam thought the same thing I did, and when they heard the Epic Games Store was going to launch or make a push for this kind of stuff, and I didn't expect it to happen so quickly and actually succeed as well as it did. So I think that like Steam's against the ropes, and they're about to come out swinging. I'm really excited to see it. So
yeah. And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.